MTL Sports Podcast, episode 51. While we've been trying to start the show, we've been watching a lot of NBA. So, of course, we have some NBA action to go over today. But first, we got NFL week, week 10? We're going to go over our games of the week. And then we'll get into some NBA action. But, of course, we got the NFC midseason preview. So, we'll get to that as well. Jam-packed show, a lot to go over. So, you guys stay tuned and enjoy the ride. Now this is week 10 in the NFL. We're about halfway through, a little over halfway through, however you want to call it. But Lawrence, I'll kick it off to you first. What is your first game of week 10 that everyone should watch?
Carolina and Chicago.
Okay.
I'm just
Tell
kidding.
me more.
I was just kidding, man.
Nah, I thought you were being serious.
No one would ever watch that. That is the biggest piece of dog crap I've ever seen in my life. They should have audibled that real quick once they saw the schedules, but whatever they're thinking, they're smoking. I think one of the more interesting games this week to probably pay attention to is I'm going to go Packers and Steelers.
Ooh.
I think this is like I feel like this is like an exposure game. I feel like this is a game in which, Steelers are only a 3-point favorite. The Packers aren't very good, to say the least. And the Steelers still are only a 3-point favorite at home, which is just a little, I guess, strikingly odd. Because basically this was in a neutral field. This would be a pick'em game, and it really, based on record, should show that Pittsburgh would be the outright dominant favorite based on record. But based on most statistics, that would be complete 180. I don't know. I think the Packers were just on a little cold streak right there. I mean, they did have a little rough go of it.
Yeah.
They did lose some tough, close ones. But the key thing was they kept the score low in most of those games. And I just don't think the Steelers are very good. I think they're exposable. And you also look over there in the Steelers' last 5, lost, win, lost, win. According to that, they should get this win, but it also just feels like they should get that loss based on that spread. I don't know what it is. I don't know what's going on in my guts. It's telling me to go Packers money line, but I'm just gonna trust it, and I'm gonna go with the Packers here to cause a little bit of an upset. Jordan Love hasn't looked horribly awful. He's just looked bad. But last game he didn't look bad. So maybe he just need to get out of his little rut he was in.
Yeah, I think that's all it is. I think he just had a little. I mean, he's not a rookie. He's been in the league for a couple of years, but first year jitters is definitely a thing in terms of your first year starting. So probably just got to him, the pressure and whatnot. So he's definitely due for a get back game. And who else but the Steelers? Offense is terrible. Defense is much better. So good stuff there. My first game, I'm going with y'all. I'm gonna go San Fran and Jacksonville. Another 1:00 game. We're in Jacksonville. We can see so far 56 are predicting the 49ers to win. 49ers have lost 3 in a row. Cincinnati, and then if we go back to the last 5, Minnesota and then Cleveland. So some bad losses in there. They're basically a field goal away from winning in Cleveland, but we know how that went. The line is at 3, so San Fran for 3, even though it's in Jacksonville. So, I think it's a get-back game. I think Debo should play this week. I think he's questionable, so we'll see if he's able to suit up. But if he does, I think, that just gives Purdy, an extra weapon, help him bring back his confidence. As long as they don't start off slow, if they can get out the gate, first drive, get a touchdown, gain some confidence, and try to dictate things, offensively and not try to just, keep pushing the ball in his hands. I feel like the 49ers have a decent chance. And they got Chase Young, so we'll see how he does if he gives the defense a boost because they were starting to get exposed, I would say. As far as Jacksonville coming off a bye week, I think most teams coming off a bye week this season have won. I think this will be a close game. I feel like it could go either way. I think Jacksonville is going to be one of the teams that lose coming off the bye. I just think that this is a perfect game for San Fran to get their get back. So yeah, I'm gonna go with San Fran.
Understand it. Yeah, both these guys are coming off bye, so someone's going to get a loss off the bye.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
I think San Fran has more to lose. No, I think San Fran has way more to lose than Jacksonville does, because at least Jacksonville has a little bit of a lead in their division. The 49ers are fighting with the Seahawks right now, and even though I think the Seahawks are pretenders, and when they face really good overmatched teams comparison to them, then they tend to fade. But it's just one of those games that you don't let a team hang around in your division that you shouldn't let hang around in your division. So 49ers know they need to win this one.
Yeah, couldn't have said it better right there. What's your second game? Second game of the week. What you got for us?
Well, as second games go, for this one, I'm going to go to Detroit and Los Angeles Chargers.
Ooh.
Mainly because there's two ways to look at this. The Chargers just beat the Jets. The Chargers convincingly beat the Jets.
This is
Chargers. Chargers are on a little bit of a hot streak, and I know the Lions lost a game a week ago to the Ravens, but they bounced back very well against the Raiders. But This is one of those games in which I kind of feel like the bye week may or may not have hurt the Lions just a little slight. Because the Lions had outside of the Ravens game, they were hot. This team was rolling. They just had one little slip up, and they immediately corrected everything off that slip up. But then you get the bye week, and you lose a little bit of that, big juice you had. And looking at the Lions, the pressure, they're not feeling pressure. There's no heat on their back. Yeah, Minnesota's 5-4. Minnesota also is playing one extra game than they have. Minnesota also has a backup. He looks really good right now, off of one game, but they have a backup quarterback. They don't have their starting quarterback from the season. So it just all is just looking towards Chargers kind of having to make a push here. This is the point in the season where the Chargers have to make some kind of a push, make some sort of notion that we are going to hang around. We are going to be, confident going into the postseason, hopefully. And that AFC is no joke. You got to stay up in the top level of the dogs. And obviously, you're probably not winning this division, seeing how Kansas City's got a 3-game lead on you, even though they have played one extra game than you. It still doesn't matter. They are miles ahead of you.
They're rolling.
So you don't have to worry about division because that's not the way you're going to get in, probably. You're worrying about wild cards, and you're looking at wild cards. There's a lot of AFC teams that are good, so this is one of those games against a Detroit team that's good, but they just had all their heat, they had all their smoke get taken away from them. So in that aspect of it, I'm just going to have to roll with the Chargers to make a little bit of an upset. I know we just looked at the predictor over there in the top left, but it didn't seem like a lot of people were favoring the Chargers. It looked like more so the Lions were the favorite according to that.
No.
Oh, no, it's all on the Chargers.
59%.
I haven't looked at the spread or anything, but I would pretty much lean more Chargers, even though, as sad as it is, they're going to be outnumbered in their own stadium in terms of fans. But it just seems like this is one of those games, the Chargers, if the coach doesn't want to get fired, he knows he's got – this is one of those, you got to win them.
Yeah, I agree. He's already Dayball's already on the hot seat. So, and like you said, if you want to stay amongst the pack of the AFC teams at the top, we said it. The Bengals for right now, the Browns and Steelers, the Jags, the Jets potentially. This is a game you got to win at home, and the Lions are favored by 3 in California, in Los Angeles, but I don't know. We'll see. It'll definitely be a good game. My second game of the week. Yeah, I'm gonna go with. I want to go Washington, Seattle, because it means a lot to both teams. But I'm gonna go with another 1:00 game, y'all. I'm gonna go Cleveland, Baltimore. We're in Baltimore. No, Baltimore won in Cleveland, I believe. So this is their second game. This is pretty much, I feel like, to make or break game for the Browns. I feel like this is when we find out if they're contenders or they're pretenders. I feel like if they lose this game, it's basically saying that, hey, they just have a really good defense and they lucked out in a few games, right? And their defense can go toe to toe with the Ravens, but on the flip side, the Ravens have looked really well. They've beaten the teams they're supposed to beat. They lost to the Steelers. They probably should have won that game. But for the most part, they beat the teams they were supposed to beat. And, 2 losses, hey, that's okay. You're 7-2. 2 losses don't really hurt you all that much. And you have a pretty decent lead in the division. So, the Browns, they're probably not worried too much about division at this point. Like the Chargers, they're probably just like, hey, just banking on the fact that they just win the game they're supposed to, and then record would just kind of slide them into the wild card spot. But this is their pretender contender game. Even if they can keep it close. I mean, the spread right now is at 6. They can keep it closer than that, like 2 or 3. Then even if they lose, I would still say, okay, Baltimore, the offense is clicking. They can run, they can pass, they can do this, they can do that. At least they stuck in there. But if they go to Baltimore and just get trampled, yeah, they definitely going to be pretenders. And then on the flip side, we'll see. Lamar hasn't passed the ball totally well, and that's not most of his fault. They've been running the ball really well, so he hasn't had the need to really pass the ball. I know he's leading the league in completion percentage, but if you look at the passing yards, I think in the past 2 or 3 games that he's been under 200 yards passing. So to me, that's a little worrying because we kind of juggle the whole, does he have receivers, does he have weapons? Well, he did win a unanimous MVP with some bums, I would say. So I mean, the man obviously can pass the ball, so having low passing yards is a little concerning, but they still won. So
that was the season he was running a lot, though.
This is true, but didn't he throw for like 3,500 or 3,600 and 36 touchdowns and like 6 interceptions?
Just saying, that was the year he ran a lot, and this year they're trying to keep him from running a lot. They're trying to keep a mobile quarterback from doing the thing he's good at.
Yeah.
My only beef with the Ravens is they force feed, and I get this vibe everywhere OBJ goes, but like at some point in the games, like they just try to force feed him the ball, and he's just not getting open, and that's not Lamar's fault. He's not getting separation. He's not getting open. Everyone was crapping on Baker when Baker couldn't get OBJ the ball, and then games where an OBJ never got thrown at half the time, and it's like, I don't know what you want Baker to do. I'm pretty sure Amari Cooper wasn't on that team, correct? And Amari Cooper would be wide the heck open. No, I'm sorry, Jarvis Landry. Sorry, Landry would be wide open. I mean, wide open. He gets 8 catches in a game, and OBJ's like, I only got 2. You're not getting open. And then he's complaining all season. He's not getting any touchdowns and everything. You're just not putting yourself in the best place to get open. Maybe that's also on the coaching staff. Maybe they should put OBJ near Mark Andrews and use Mark Andrews as a decoy so you can get OBJ open. Yeah, I guess there's things you can do, but half the time it looks like they're trying to force feed certain players the ball. And other guys who are consistently, producers on the team are just getting overlooked. So,
yeah, it'll be interesting. I think I think for the Ravens going into the back half of the season, Lamar, you gotta throw at least 200 yards, bro. Like I know you're winning the ball, pounding the run game, but you get in the playoffs, teams are going to take that away. So you gotta. I mean, you've proven it in the past, but a couple of games under 200 yards, at least to me, is a little concerning. Any honorable mentions, Lawrence, for this week? I mean, it's a pretty good week. So there's plenty of games people should watch, honestly.
Well, some notable ones I think are going to be good. Tennessee, Tampa Bay. I mean, this is a winnable game for Tennessee, but they can't win on the road. So that's just something they haven't proven all season. Tampa Bay needs to get out of a rut. And Tampa Bay needs to get out of this rut quickly before they lose ground on the Saints, and which they can't come back from. I know it says passing yards Ryan Tannehill, but Ryan Tannehill has already been ruled out as a starter. It has been already ruled that Will Levis will be the starter. So
the starting, yeah.
Other games to look forward to and look at. I mean, crap. Another big one is Giants and Dallas.
Okay.
There's two ways you look at this one. Giants, you can't let Dallas whoop you that hard again. like you lost 40-0.
But they're in Jerry World, right? So
yeah,
I think they're gonna get whooped again.
And for the Giants, I don't even know who the starting quarterback is.
It's that the kid that threw the ball like one time, right? They don't let him throw like once. Oh god, they gonna get their ass whooped.
It's gonna be a great game. It's one of those things, like I just said. It's gonna be so fun to.
Look at the line. It's -16. Oh my god!
It's gonna be one of those awesome games to watch because I know Giants bettors on the minus or +16.5 are gonna be all over it.
Oh my
but it's
Lord.
very clear that I just think the Cowboys are. This was like the gift given to the Cowboys, Like it just seems like this happens every year. Like the Cowboys play someone hard, and the football gods give them someone so bad to play the week after.
So they can build their confidence back up, and they think that they're still them boys.
And every single host out there, as soon as
the Skips out there, the Michael.
They're immediately gonna jump on and they're gonna be like, "We were never gone. And it's like, dude, you just beat up the Giants with no quarterback. Oh, in the slightest. None.
-16 has to be the biggest spread of the year. Like I've seen some double-digit spreads, but they've been like 10 or 11, not 16.
I know the Cardinals were 14.5 1 week against the 49ers, and that's the biggest one I've seen.
And they covered that, didn't they?
No, they lost it at the very end.
Oh, that was like, yeah.
That's when Zach Ertz dropped the ball in the end zone. Yeah, I remember that because I needed that spread to be covered, and Zach Ertz dropped it right in my face.
You know what? You hate to see it.
Yeah, well, you hate watching the Wizards beat up on the Hornets for some reason. What the heck?
Yeah, hey, it happens. I think for me, my only, actually no, I have two. We'll go New Orleans, Minnesota. Josh Dobbs' second game. I mean, he has a full week now instead of just 48 hours to cram the playbook. And basically the calls he was getting in the huddle were just like, all right, X runs a slant, Y runs a dig, Z runs a go. Like, hopefully he actually knows the names of some plays now. And then New Orleans, they're coming off a win, right? Barely beat the Bears, but hey, a win's a win. It's a must-win for both teams. I feel like New Orleans, you got to keep the lead in your division. Vikings, you kind of got to keep pace with the Lions because who knows? Green Bay might catch fire. Jordan Love he might actually start looking like a competent quarterback. But I feel like it's a must-win for both teams. And then we're going to Washington, Seattle. Seattle just got the ass kick by Baltimore. It's what they do to NFC teams. So they feeling a little zesty, they're gonna want to get their get back. And Washington's been talking crap about Sweat and Chase Young. So we'll see if they can back it up on the road. If there's addition by subtraction is actually a thing. They got lucky last week against New England. Let's see if they get lucky again. Probably not. I feel like they probably will lose. 6.5. Actually, that sounds pretty reasonable. I feel like
I don't know.
Washington.
Geno Smith does Geno Smith things to cover that for Washington.
But Washington's secondary is just horrible. And Geno's at home. He's going to have a party.
Well, Geno's good for 1 interception a game, so.
So if you want to put down your SGPs, put down your SGPs. I think that's it. I think that's all I got for this week.
I mean, the rest of the games are, they're all right. Like Houston, they'll put up a fight with Cincinnati, but I don't see them winning.
I don't see him throwing 5 touchdowns against Lou. Lou ain't going to let that happen.
I think the funniest game of the week is going to be Dallas and New York. I just wish there was a way that the Cowboys could lose 2 straight, It just doesn't happen. They just make it to they break the schedule.
If they do lose 2 straight, oh my god. Skip Bayless, Michael Irvin are going to go crazy.
I don't know in any alternate universe with that Giants lineup that can beat that Cowboys team. Quarterback wasn't even allowed to throw the ball.
Hey, he has a whole week to prepare, so maybe he can they'll give him 10. They'll give him like when Malik Willis was starting that 1 week and they only let him throw like 10 times. It'll be like that. All right, y'all. That's it for week 10 games of the week. Coming up next, we have NFC midseason recap, so stay tuned. We're back, and we're back with some NFC midseason recaps. Last episode, if you didn't watch, we went over the AFC midseason recap, went over, each division one by one. So we're going to follow the same format for tonight's episode. So I guess let's start with NFC North. We got the Seahawks. Who else? Oh, no, that's not the North. We got the Lions, Green Bay, Bears, and Vikings. In terms of that division, Lawrence, were we correct? I mean, I want to say for the most part we were spot on.
Oh, we're spot on that division. I didn't think Green Bay was going to be all that good. I think you underestimated. No. I don't know. You said Chicago was going to have 2 wins. After tomorrow, Chicago will have 3 wins. So you messed up. You messed up their schedule just a tad bit, but it happens. It happens. We thought the Vikings would be fighting for the wild card spot, in which they are, and we thought Detroit was going to kind of just kick smash like they're doing right now. So, in my opinion, I think we did really good on this division.
Yeah, I'd say so. My Bears pick, they're pretty much on pace. Honestly, I don't think they're going to win, but I mean that's just me. But other than that, I feel like we were pretty spot on.
I know you say that, but I don't think there's a way that Carolina wins another game this year. So,
I think you have a good chance, especially if Fields doesn't play. I mean, that his backup is not too, he's not the best.
His backup is as good as Bryce Young,
But I mean, there's not too much to say about this division. We knew the Lions were going to be powerhouses. We knew that, the Vikings. We didn't foresee, JJ going down, and we didn't see Kirk Cousins tearing his Achilles.
Achilles.
So I mean, we'll see. Maybe the Vikings. Josh Dobbs he's like a lower end starter. Like he's definitely a competent backup, but in terms of like starting, yeah, he can start. But we'll see if at some point if Jefferson can come back. Does that mean that they can actually make that push, or he's just going to have to make do with what he has? I don't know. It's going to be really interesting in that aspect.
Yeah, whenever I hear Josh Dobbs, the first thing that comes in my brain is like a Jason Campbell-esque,
Yes. In terms of throwing and running, yeah.
Yeah. He does, if he's on a good team, he does just enough to win some games here and there. On a bad team, he kind of looks good on paper, but they don't win the games. So that was just one of those players I saw as a child that just stuck with my brain that I've thought about time to time, because from the Washington D.C. area, we had to watch Washington Commanders all the time,
Yeah.
Jason Campbell was a quarterback for 5 years, 4 years. So
Oh yeah, good stretch. Good stretch. Yeah. Um. Yeah. So that's the NFC North. We're pretty spot on. Let's do the South. All right, NFC South, your division. The Panthers, unfortunately, 1-7 at the bottom. But we have the Saints, Falcons, and Bucks pretty much still contending for the who's going to win that division.
none of them.
You got nothing.
I mean, what do you want me to say? I mean, it's so painful.
Yeah.
I'm repping the jersey today, just kind of throw it out there. I'm still a fan. I'm still loving it, but I'm not loving it. It ain't McDonald's up in here. Tampa Bay is about what I thought they were. 3-3 and whatever they are. They're exactly what we thought they were. They're gonna fight and stay in games, but in terms of dominating or beating up on a team, that's not possible for them. Saints are highly underachieving, and that's just an understatement. The Chiefs are, or not the Chiefs, the Saints are just. I think the best way to put it is abysmally good. The Saints are not good, but their record says they're good. It's just their defense is kind of okay.
Yeah, it's hit or miss.
Their secondary is just amazing. Their front is the hit or miss, but their secondary is so good. And the Falcons, I mean, no offense, as a Panthers fan and as an avid hater of the Falcons, if you guys just had a coach, you guys would probably be about
Arthur
6
Smith.
wins.
You don't like Arthur Smith and his mustache?
No, they would have about 6 wins if they didn't have him as the coach.
What is up with Bijan not getting a lot of he started off hot and now they barely give him carries and catches? What is going on?
Because he doesn't use his good players. That's why Kyle Pitts hasn't done anything. He doesn't use what the players and the tools that he has at his disposal. Why would I use my best player on my team when I can use an undrafted free agent instead and make him look good?
Well, at least he finally listened to us, and Taylor Heineke's starting.
Heineke should have started 3 weeks ago.
I agree.
I mean, at this point, if you started Heineke 3 weeks ago, he would have way more chemistry with the team. And you probably would have been a little bit more competitive in these games.
Honestly, you probably had the same record as the Saints, if not a game better.
Exactly, but you had a different coach. You would have had someone already change that already. So, I don't like Arthur Smith. I just think I don't know. He might be just the avid Panther fan, which is the avid Falcon hater. But I just don't think Arthur Smith's a good coach. I also don't think Dennis Allen's a good coach for the Saints. Tampa Bay, honestly, all the coaches in the NFC South suck. They all absolutely suck. Tampa Bay's coach, he's okay. He's not good. The one thing is, his teams are always, they fight hard, they play well. It's just that they're undisciplined. And this is back at his Jets days of coaching. He always had good teams that fought hard, that played hard, and they would always just do a bunch of stupid penalties that cost them games at the time.
Yeah, I mean oh, go ahead.
I still don't understand the whole prevent defense against CJ Stroud with 42 seconds left. You played Hail Mary prevent defense when they're at the 20. That didn't make any sense. At least you got to pressure them higher. You allowed them to walk down that field because you played prevent. Yeah. And I mean Hail Mary prevent. You thought they were just going to yeet that ball all the way down the field. I know that you don't know that DeMarco Ryans, or is it DeMarco Ryans? We don't know if he's a great head coach or not, but it doesn't take a rocket science to know that if this team is playing prevent Hail Mary defense, let me just throw the ball 20 yards down the field and then have my guy run it for another 15 before someone can even come close to tackling him. In 2 plays, you're at the 20 or 30-yard line. It ain't hard to get in from the 20 or 30 because you actually draw up plays for that. You have plays drawn up to do that. You don't have anything drawn up from the 50-yard line. That's just Hail Mary at that point.
Yeah, no, you're right.
So I just think the coaching in that division's bad. The Saints are going to win it just by default, unless the Falcons can stir the pot. I don't believe that Tampa Bay will be coming back.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much more I can add. The Falcons should be better. Saints also should be better. Bucks, I mean, they're kind of on pace of what I said. I think I had them at 6-11, but they're probably not going to lose 6 more games unless Baker just flames out. But yeah, Panthers. We both had high hopes, but it's not looking too good. That's all I'm going to say. Moving on though, we're going to go NFC. Let's save the East for last because they're kind of interesting. But so let's go West. NFC West, we got the Niners, Seahawks, Rams, Cardinals. Cardinals are awful like we expected. Rams, it's more or less like last year. Just injuries are piling up. I kind of feel bad for AD. You know, he re-upped his contract, but they're bad for another year. Seahawks and Niners are pretty much where we expected, pretty much, right?
I mean, the interesting thing when you look at the Seahawks, right? They're 5-3, but their point differential says completely otherwise.
Yeah.
I mean, they are a negative in point differential, not by a lot, but I think they're another one of those teams that's winning close games. And to be honest, they've only really beaten up bad teams other than Detroit. And
they beat the Browns too.
I'm not counting that one because you beat the Browns, but you beat the Browns with PJ Walker. Like, okay.
Yeah, that was true.
I mean, PJ Walker, what was his? I think it was his second start, but you know, PJ Walker's arguably not a true NFL starter, but you know, he started some games for Carolina and for Browns, so you got to give him his props. He's an XFL guy, USFL guy.
Yeah,
but no, I don't think Seattle's beaten anyone important other than Detroit. They have that one win against Detroit. But that win in Detroit also came with a lot of controversy. So, you know, you did get, you know, absolutely gifted from the refs that, you know, what is his name? Not Hawkinson. Aiden Hutchinson, completely held. Like jersey off to the side, just being yanked. And the ref doesn't even call it. And then Gino runs that same play into the end zone. I guarantee you Gino ain't running it. He ain't getting that far if he isn't getting held. So, and then they would have had to kick the field goal, and you don't know what the Lions would have done at that point. So the Lions could have done more throughout the game to not be in that point.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that could have happened. Regardless, Seattle's won a lot of close games, but Seattle's also beat up a lot of bad teams. I don't think this team travels well on the road. I think they've just beaten a lot of bad teams on the road. And if you look at their conference record, I mean, they're 4-1 in the conference. That just means they're beating up all the bad NFC teams. To what I remember, I know they beat the crap out of Carolina. I mean, that was an easy dub. Easy dubs. So, not impressed. Seattle, I think I had Seattle like on the borderline of making the playoffs. Just based on overall about how bad the NFC is, they're probably making the playoffs. And for San Francisco, I mean, neither one of us had them losing, like 4 games? I think both of us had them like losing like 3 or 4 games.
13 and 14, I think, is what I had them.
So the fact that they're 5-3 at this point in the season is a little bit concerning.
Oh, yeah.
But if you look at the point differential, I think they're okay. I mean, they have a better point differential than the Eagles, and the Eagles are what, 8-1? I think they're going to be okay. I think this is just a rough patch. Essentially, all Brock Purdy needs is an easy win. He just needs a team to beat up on.
Yeah.
But you see, the problem is only certain teams get those bounce back games in which you get to beat up on a bad team right after a loss. So, unfortunately, he's getting thrown right back in the fire. But, you know, maybe he can pull it off.
Yeah, I think for me, this division, I swear, I mean, I really did think the 49ers were going to run away. They're 5-3 now. I had them at 13-4. I'm kind of hard pressed to say that they're going to lose only one more game. Like I think that they're probably going to lose at least 2 or 3 more. So I'm definitely going to revise that to 11-6. It's probably what they will finish. And then the Seahawks, I feel like they're going to finish around the same. I feel like as long as they beat the teams they're supposed to beat, and they're gonna have a couple. They're gonna have one more game like the Lions where they probably should lose, but they're gonna win. I think they still got the little luck and mystique of last season that is still on their side. So I think, it's gonna come down to those two teams at the top. The Rams had them at 7-10. They probably gonna be right there with the Cardinals. They probably not gonna win another game. Honestly, they.
now with Carson Wentz.
Yeah, he's the backup. Stafford's still out. I feel bad for Puka and Cup because he's gonna have a gunslinger throwing to them, but he's definitely gonna throw some interceptions as well. So it's not looking too pretty. The Rams, if you're a Rams fan, man, it was looking good, and then now it's not. So I don't know. It's a tough spot to be in, but I mean we were pretty. I mean not spot on, but we had a good feel for this division as well. Last division, y'all, NFC East. Eagles running away, 8-1, best team, best record in NFL, by far the best record in NFC. Get the Cowboys, them boys, Commanders 4-5, and Giants are god awful. We had high expectations for the Giants. I think we both had them repeating.
I had them making the playoffs.
Yeah, we both had them repeating.
I had them making the playoffs over the Cowboys. I thought the Cowboys were going to have a blunder every year, but I got to give the Cowboys where their props are due. They have a better point differential than the Eagles. Again, I don't know how much that is, like how pressing that is, but I think it's kind of an important stat. Like
the defense is legit. The offense is where it gets a little wishy-washy.
Yeah, I mean they got to plug holes and they got to fix things up and. But that offense, they just signed Martavius Bryant to try to do something. I don't think that's your answer.
It's not.
I think the answer more lies in the fact of the running game. They don't have a power back anymore. And I think it's very clear that they have a hard time running the ball. And I'm not trying to say Pollard's trash or anything, but I mean, Pollard's a spread. He runs spreads and counters, and Pollard doesn't run the ball at the middle too often.
No.
He does, but that's not his forte. His forte is getting space and getting big yards. I think they come into a point in the season now where they need like cheap yards, kind of like the Eagles do all the time. When they need 1 or 2 yards. Elliott used to give that to him. Now they don't have that anymore. And you wanted something cheaper than Elliott. I don't know how you didn't get like a Latavius Murray that the Bills have or something. Like just anything to get you like cheap, easy yards. It's just one of those things that you can kind of see in the Cowboys the way they've been, I guess, fundamentally drawn up. And especially losing their offensive coordinator, Kellen Moore, to the Chargers. I mean, there's just missing holes on that offense, and you see it game to game. Eagles, dude, they can't just keep having this horseshoe. I mean, it's like there's a horseshoe just lodged up in their rear end, and it's impossible to pull out. And finally, the Commanders. I mean, maybe it was a good thing that you got rid of those 2 guys. Maybe it made your defense better. But in my opinion, like, you guys are fighting for a wild card spot. The rest of the conference is not very good. You guys can easily sneak into that 7th seed in the wild card. Where your brain is on making those kind of moves when you could be trying to, compete. I don't know. It doesn't look good for Ron Rivera. That's all I gotta say. It just kind of seems like they were ready to. The new owner's ready to revamp and restart, and Ron Rivera is saying, "Hey,
slow your roll."
I got players on this team that I can win with still, regardless. So, and to be fair, like their offense isn't bad.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I'll say. The Giants are bad. Let's just get them out the way. Daniel Jones is out towards ACL. Very, very sad. Tyrod's out. Something with his ribs. So he's not playing. He was playing pretty well before he got hurt. And they're out the equation. We both thought they were going to repeat, going back to the playoffs. That's not going to happen, all right? So that's first off. Second of all, Eagles, I don't know. They've, one loss. Hey, that's okay. And, they had some close wins. Obviously, they got a lot of luck on their side, but the offense just doesn't look as potent. The offense just does not look as potent. At times it does, but especially now with Jalen Hurts, his knee is really bothering him. He took a shot last game where he, kind of struggled to get off the field, but he immediately went back in, still wearing that brace. I don't know. I mean, it's really concerning. I mean, he's arguably your best player. If he's hobbled at all, at some point it's going to catch up to him, because you don't get healthier going into the season. You get, things get worse. So, especially if you're a running quarterback, especially nowadays where they can only hit you basically from your knees to basically where your gut is. I mean,
I think
he's asking for another injury. I mean,
it's that brotherly push. I mean, yes, it's unstoppable and everything, but you got to be thinking about with all those guys and all that weight and all those different movements going on down there, and he's just getting pushed from all different directions. That stuff's got to be banging up his knees. It's just got to be. And so, if the move is really that unstoppable, maybe you should get a backup quarterback in there that can just do a brotherly push, or maybe you get the running back to take the handoff. But you should, honestly, you should try to do something with that brotherly push. He's not in that scrap, just getting pushed to the front.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably the byproduct, right? Like, yeah, it's unstoppable, but your quarterback's liable to get hurt because all that weight on his knees and stuff, like say, getting shoved everywhere. I mean, that's probably like the one negative.
I mean, you get all those guys in the bottom of the pile, someone's punching him in the side of the knee.
Yeah, for sure. And I don't think the Cowboys are necessarily targeting his knees because they knew it was bothering him. But, I mean, he took some couple of shots to the knees. I mean, I think it's just going to be like a low-key thing. Like, teams are like, all right, we know his knees kind of hobbled. Like, don't make it obvious, but go for them knees. Like, I mean, that's what coaches do. They're going to take any little advantage they can. I mean, even if it is slightly dirty, they're going to try to take that advantage. So that's a little concerning. The Cowboys, the defense is really, really impressive. The defense is legit. I mean, they lost Diggs, and Bland is still, my namesake Bland. He's out there balling, you know what I'm saying? They got Gilmore, he's balling. Parsons is a dog. I mean, the turnovers, the scoops and scores, the pick sixes, I mean, it's insane. But like we've been saying, the offense is just hit or miss, especially in the red zone. They don't have that power back, like you said. Like they let Zeke go to the Patriots, but didn't really. I mean, what's their backup? The 5'6" guy, the 5'5" guy. Mm-hmm. He's not a power back. Like, and he barely plays, so it's basically Pollard or bust. And I'm pretty sure he hasn't had a
guy in there,
and he hasn't had a 100-yard rushing game since the opener. So it's like you're basically Dak or bust, and we saw what happens. At least just this past Sunday, Dak or bust. He bust. He stepped out of bounds on a 2-point conversion. He had multiple tries at the end zone at the end of the game. Couldn't get it done. I mean, really going to put all your faith in Dak? Come on.
Dak's been running the ball a lot more, too, this season. And I don't know if that's just me paying attention to it a little bit more, or that's me just nitpicking it a little bit more because I've been saying that like they lack that kind of a power-esque pusher in the run game. But I've seen Dak scramble a lot more to get out of the pocket and to get just 3 chunk yards. I mean, you got to think about it. Like that play where Dak ran to the outside to try to get that 2-point conversion. Last year, they would have tried to run that ball at the middle of Zeke.
Yeah.
You got that strong offensive line. Then I also think this also was it Dalton for the Texans, the tight end that left as well?
Yeah,
Dalton Schultz. I'm pretty sure he was good in the run game to push. There's just certain things that they're missing this year that I think it all goes back to Zeke. I think they miss Zeke. I think that's the biggest key is they miss someone that can just pound it in the middle. And everyone was just giving Zeke a hard time, like, oh, dude, your yards are going down every season. It's because they kind of found out what to use him perfectly for. Get me 2 yards, Zeke. Give me 3 yards, Zeke.
He will get you 2 or 3 yards. He will get you 2 or 3 yards. And last season, if they're in the red zone, if they're 10 yards from the goal line, we knew what they're doing. They're going to power. They're going to go straight up the middle, power until they get inside. Now, with Pollard, you can't do that. And this is what we said in the beginning. We said, hey, Pollard is a nice running back. He probably is a starter, but he's going to get worn down, and he's not going to look as impressive. And what do you know? He doesn't look as impressive. It doesn't take a genius to kind of notice those things, but I guess it kind of does because the Cowboys couldn't figure it out before we did. So I don't know. Maybe they need to give us a job, but yeah, it's just they're gonna make the playoffs. Don't get me wrong. The defense is good enough to carry them to the playoffs. Now they're gonna win a playoff game, probably not. But hey, we still got about 8 weeks in order for us to figure that out. So. But other than that, we're pretty spot on with this division as well. But that's pretty much it. Before we go, in terms of who we thought, gonna be at the top, it's basically at this point the Eagles and Lions. Everyone else is pretty much tied up at 5-3 or 5-4.
Yep.
Who do you think are the Lions gonna kind of sneak their way into the number 1 seed in NFC, or is the Eagles just gonna run away with this one?
Eagles are going to keep their number 1 seed. I think the big thing for the Lions is, and I think it's to think big picture. I think the Lions probably fall into the 3rd seed. I don't think they finish 2nd seed. I think the 49ers find a way to get up there to that 2nd seed. But I think the Lions are going to very much enjoy playing whoever it is at the 6th seed. When I say they're going to very much enjoy that, what teams do we believe are going to finish as a 6th seed? Well, in my opinion, you're either getting the Vikings or you're either getting Vikings, Falcons,
or Commanders.
Or Commanders. You're getting one of them. At least you don't have to play the Cowboys. I think that's the big it factor. You don't have to play the Cowboys. Or no, sorry, Seattle, Vikings, and Washington and Falcons. I missed out Seattle. Regardless of that, I think the Saints are going to win that conference. And I don't know what it is about Atlanta. I just feel like Atlanta has a run in them to make a little push at the end when they're not supposed to. But I don't think the Falcons make it past a 7th seed. So if we're really talking about a 6 seed here, it's Vikings, Seattle, Washington. It's one of them. I don't see Falcons making up to that. I think they're only a 7th seed. I also kind of view Washington only as a 7th seed. So it's really Vikings and Seattle. And if you're asking me, the Lions get Seattle back in Ford Field for a little bit of revenge, basically. Oh, count me in, because
that's a lock. I feel like that's a lock. They're gonna have motivation.
They lost early in their season. I think it was like week 2 in Ford Field. But dude, you give me another chance with them, I'm gonna whoop them. And I think that defense, now that it's grown a little bit in the season, I think they would whoop them.
Oh, for sure. I don't trust in a playoff game. I don't trust Geno Smith in the regular season. Anything can happen, but in playoff game, I wouldn't trust Geno Smith. On the road, no. I don't know. I think for me, I think the Niners are going to stay locked in that 3rd seed. I think they got too much ground to cover. I think the Lions are just going to pick up where they left off. They're going to keep this hot streak going, and they're going to surprise people. I think they're going to lock into that 2nd seed, and then I think we got a collision course for the Eagles and Lions in the NFC Championship. I think I'm gonna say that right now. I think we got an Eagles Lions NFC Championship game this year.
I think that's very possible if Jalen Hurts stays. I think the Eagles might need to start playing a little strategic, though. Just for instance, this is their bye week, I think, right? I think they have a bye week this week. I don't remember seeing them on the list of teams to play, but I'm pretty sure that to finish the season, the Eagles have to play the Giants, the Cardinals, and the Giants, all in a 3-game stretch. If I'm the Eagles,
Jalen Hurts isn't playing,
and Jalen Hurts is not playing, Jalen Hurts might come back for the last game of the season just to get his arm back to throwing motion.
Yeah, he'll play like half.
But like you can't play him, and you need to build yourself that lead now, or you do it this way. Like, okay, Jalen Hurts is hurting right now. Let's let him sit, and let's duke it out with our. We think we have a good defense, so let's use it. So let's duke it out with some of these teams now in this part of the season, so we can heal up, and then in case we fall a little bit under someone ahead of us, or the Lions got to jump on us a little bit. At least we know if Jalen Hurts comes back at the end of the season, he gets to play Giants, Cardinals, Giants. He can come back and get his confidence right back, get his knee back underneath him. Like, there's two ways to look at it, but in my opinion, if he's not feeling 100% coming out this bye week, I think there's an argument to be made that you should feel confident enough in your team to let him chill out. Put the backup in. I don't even know who the backup is, but put the backup in.
I don't know who the backup is. Let's actually look that up right now. Let's go to the depth chart. QB2.
Is it Mariota?
Mariota. Mariota can win you a game, and he doesn't. It's not a big adjustment. I mean, they both can run. They both can throw the ball. I think you're right. I think depending on how he feels, and let's see the schedule. Bye week, Kansas City. They're probably gonna make him play. He's probably gonna have to play these. So I don't know. He probably doesn't get to rest.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, personally, that Buffalo San Fran, if he comes back against Kansas City and he looks kind of bad, that Buffalo San Fran matchup right there, I feel like I could throw Mariota in there. Maybe Mariota wins me one.
Yeah, one of those two.
It also lets you not let San Fran see your cards when they play you.
Yeah, that's true, because, they're probably going to play each other.
They're going to think it's a collision course for the playoffs, and that way it lets San Fran not see your cards. I mean, I guess they saw you last year, but your team isn't completely the same.
No.
So at least your cards won't be shown, and then you can throw Hurts back in there for Dallas, because you want to win that one, and that one might be impactful to your season, and then you just let Hurts duke it out with, Seattle, Giants, Cardinals, Giants. Like, those last 3 games are absolute cakewalk. Obviously, when the odds makers made this, or not the odds makers, when the NFL guys made this, schedule, I don't think they were thinking the Giants were going to be bad. So I thought they thought that was probably going to be an important game at the end of the season.
Yeah, you're definitely right. And I do think, we'll see. We possibly will see Jalen Hurts rest at some point, because that knee is definitely giving him a little bother. So it's definitely going to happen at some point. Just when, we don't really know. But okay, y'all, that's pretty much it for this episode 51, MTL Sports Podcast. Any final thoughts before we go, Lawrence?
None here. I hope Carolina has a good game tomorrow. It's our
Thursday night football. Amazon Prime.
Football. Make us proud. Honestly, just don't get blown out. I don't know how they could get blown out, but just don't. I don't know. I think that might be putting too much pressure on them, but at this point, everyone always says, Bryce Young's not a bust. He's not a bust. I don't think Bryce Young's a bust, but I am, as a Panthers fan, easily said, he looks almost as bad as that Jimmy Clausen year is.
You know what Cam just said about Jimmy Clausen? He wanted $1 million for number 1. He said, fuck no. Mm-hmm. Your ass, no.
Yeah, so, I mean, I know he's not that bad, because I remember, if I really believe and, dig deep to remember, the Jimmy Clausen section of my Panthers fandom was absolutely rough and hard to go through, but it just brings flashbacks of that. And honestly, I don't even think it's him. I just think it's ownership. I think the ownership's just absolutely bad, and if some way they could force him out of there, which is never going to happen, but
what can you say? For me, you guys gonna watch the episode tomorrow, but there's a huge slate of NBA games. Pretty sure 28 teams are playing. We have some really good games: Celtics, Sixers, Heat, Grizzlies, Lakers, Rockets. We got Nuggets, Warriors. Like some really good games. Pretty much the rest of the week as well. What do we got for tomorrow? We got Milwaukee, Indiana. Ugh. But the Friday in-season tournament games. Let me bring this up on the screen really quick. And let's go over this really quickly. In-season tournament games, we got Philly, Detroit, Hornets, Washington, Brooklyn, Boston, which should be a really good game. Pelicans, Houston. We'll see if Zion comes back. I think he's having his kid tonight, so he's not playing, but hopefully he comes back for Fridays. Grizzlies, Jazz. Grizz are bad this year. Timberwolves, Spurs, LA, Dallas. This is gonna be a good game. Lakers playing Phoenix again for the third time. Or is it third time? Yeah, third time. That should be good. And OKC, Sacramento. It would be really good if Fox was going to be playing, but Fox is still out. I'm looking forward to Lakers and Phoenix. I think that's going to be a good matchup. Hopefully, Anthony Davis can come back and play. But this Clippers Dallas is going to be, they got beef. They don't like each other, and now James Harden's in the mix. It's going to be interesting. James Harden, his first game they lost. Was it last night, right? Or no, 2 nights ago on Monday because no games on election day. But this is going to be interesting. This Clippers Dallas, it's going to be really interesting.
I agree, but my only feeling with Dallas is I feel like Dallas just needs another player.
They're 6-1, right?
They're 6-1, but I just think they need something. I think they just need a little bit of a spark off the bench because when that second unit comes in for Dallas, it just looks.
Is Hardaway on the starting lineup now, or is he?
Yeah, he's on the starting lineup.
That's why he's been scoring so much. Okay, so it's basically Josh Green coming off the bench now.
I believe so. I just remember watching that Nuggets game, and they basically had to force the starters to play the whole game just to stay in it. And that was just that was just the key moment for me is when the Nuggets backups came in, they hung with them.
Yeah,
with the starters of Dallas because they were tired, and when the Nuggets starters came back in, they blew them out. They smashed them. So I just think they need another guy on that. They're gonna have to do something before the trade deadline because this team is good. Yes, making moves in the playoffs probably not with what you got. I think Derek Lively is really good or likely, but yeah, I mean, it just needs to be more pieces. I just think they need a spark off that bench. They need someone to come off that bench. I mean, I don't know if you thought. Was it Seth Curry was going to do that for you? But this isn't Seth Curry of past seasons. This is a much older, aged and refined.
Probably
drinks nice fine wine now. Like ain't the same kind of mentality and dog-like killer instinct in him anymore.
Yeah, they need like a Jordan Clarkson. Like I know you said he's probably gonna get traded. Like that's a guy they should go after, like a Jordan Clarkson or someone that's gonna be cheap. Like he's probably only gonna be like a first rounder or maybe 2 seconds. Like just give him a young guy and give him 2 seconds, and they'll probably take that. Or maybe I don't know, maybe shop around, maybe take somebody from the Lakers or the Suns. Like they have an abundance of players on minimum deals. Maybe you can and they need picks as well. So maybe you can just give Phoenix or LA both LA teams. Maybe you can just give them like a first rounder. Say, hey, we need this guy. I don't know, Torian Prince. When Rui comes back, they may not need him. So, hey, let me get Torian Prince, put on my bench. I don't know. There's a lot of things they can do, but I think you're right. They definitely need a spark off the bench.
Mm-hmm.
OKC's looking good. I feel like they're going to win. Bradley Beal is back. He's playing tonight. And then Booker might be back for Friday. So that should be a really good game. And then Wemby versus Gobert. That's going to be another good one. The 7-footers. We'll see if Gobert can actually guard Wemby. I'm thinking
I don't
he's
think
probably
he can,
too quick.
Wemby goes too far back. He likes to hang behind the arc sometimes. Gobert hates going past the arc.
Yeah, you're right. I think it's gonna be interesting to watch those two go against each other. But that's pretty much all I got. Episode 51. MTL Sports Podcast. Thank you guys for watching. Follow us on all the social medias, all that good stuff, and we're out. Peace out, y'all.
Peace.